Today we're going to mount an AXP skid pan on a KTM 890 Rally because instructions mean you have to like read and stuff. Ugh. So to begin, we're going to go over the scope of parts that come in your AXP skid pan kit. So you have your skid pan here. You've got 4 aluminum braces, your hardware, a couple rubber bumpers they're going to screw into the bottom of the engine, and then you have a front brace that basically goes up here. So we'll show you that in a minute. You also get an array of stickers and a crack flap and the instructions right here. But you're not going to need those instructions because this video is going to be fantastic. So the scope of tools are pretty basic. You got a 4mm Allen, 8mm socket, 10mm socket, or a 10mm open end wrench, T45 Torx, and a couple of ratchets. That's about it. First things first, we're going to get the 3 longest screws. These 2 are the same. This one is a medium length. You can see it's a little bit longer than those. These guys are basically going to go into your brackets down here. So we're going to separate those 3 screws with this bracket here, and that's going to get moved right here. Those 3 screws are going to come in from the front. So give you an idea, they're all countersunk right here. So those are going to come through from the front and the bottom. Then we're going to use a washer and nuts with those. Pretty simple. Now, typically on metal, I like to put the sharp part of a washer away from the metal, but because this is plastic, I actually like to take the sharp part and put it towards the plastic. So if you look at the, sorry about the focus there, guys. There we go. Oh, there. Oh. You get the picture. So I typically tighten these until the heads are flush with the plastic. This is going to be a 4mm hex and a 10mm socket. Okay, we got a brace installed here. So these are the 2 longer ones. This is the medium length one. And now we're going to start using all of the equal length ones on these 2 parts here. So we're going to line up our braces. They only really line up one way. Put that one that way, this one that way. Now there's going to be some plastic you're going to have to probably pull off of here. They leave that on there so they don't get scratched, which is nice. So we just got to peel off this piece here. But these line up just like that, and we're going to put the screws in those. Okay, next we're going to mount our braces to the inside of the skid pan. So we're going to look for this button head hardware right here, the 6mm. We're going to be using these large washers, the smaller washers, and the nuts on the back side right there. Make sure to leave these loose because I'm going to show you how to tighten them up properly in a second. Okay, now what I like to do is take one of these shouldered bolts that they give you that affix the skid pan to the front of the bike and put it through here. So you'll notice right here, it's shouldered, so there's a larger hole here. And I use these to properly line this bracket up before I tighten these down. So now we're gonna get back here with the 4mm and the 10mm again and tighten these up with that located. We are done with our hardware and all of our mounts and bits and pieces, and we are ready to mount this on this bike. So first thing we're going to do is remove these bolts here. I like to loosen this one too. It helps you get the spacers and the bolt in here. So we're going to remove this bolt and this spacer. We've already removed the stock skid pan. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then we'll show you where the rubber bumpers go. Okay, now we're underneath the bike, and you can see these 2 rubber mounts here that the stock skid pan bolts into. The stock skid pan also bolted into these guys up here. So we've removed that. That's really self-explanatory. We don't need to spend any time in the video showing you how to do that. But AXP gives you these new rubber bumpers here. You're going to leave these 2 here, and then you're going to run these in here. A little bit of blue Loctite is good. You can certainly put them in there, but it's not like they're going anywhere because the skid pan is going to rest up against these. Now we're down here by the foot peg, and we're going to completely remove this bolt here. This is a T45 Torx. So we're going to take this out. We're going to reuse the bolt, but not the spacer. Once this is out, we're also going to loosen this one, and that's going to kind of free up some space and allow things to go together a little bit easier. Same thing on the other side. They include these spacers right here. You're going to use these with the stock bolts. Those spacers are going to slide in here. The bolt's going to go through, and that flange right there is going to fit on the inside part here, and this spacer takes up the gap. One thing I'm going to add while we're here is if you have any trouble getting the spacer in, that's why we loosen both bolts down here, so you can actually relieve some tension on the foot peg bracket. And if you can get something in here to kind of pry this out a little bit, it doesn't take much. Just get something soft, put it in here and kind of pry it this way. It'll pull it out enough, it'll flex it out enough to kind of get that spacer in there. Now we're just going to move to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, we're on the home stretch here, and what I like to do is get up underneath the skid pan with my knee and hold it up and just get the two lower bolts started. And the flanges that these screw into are a little bit of a funky angle, so it kind of takes a second. You know, sometimes it helps to kind of expose this and see what angle they like to go in, which is about like that. So now we're going to lift this up, try to match that angle and see if that helps get the threads started. There we go. So once I've got the two lower bolts in, it'll act as a placeholder for the rest of the bits. So they have this nice crap flap that they give you. This is optional, but it fits in right here, and you can tell which orientation it goes by the cutout for the radiator hose. So now we can get the other two bolts started and finish buttoning up our skid pan install. Last but not least, this is good for at least 2 miles an hour on the top end. Okay, everybody, that's it for this install. I think it was a lot simpler than you guys probably thought it was going to be, and hopefully we answered some questions there. Now you guys are pretty much ready to bash your way to adventure bliss without worrying that this tin can of a stock skid pan is going to crush like a beer can on the forehead of an errant boulder, and not to mention these tragically placed, beautiful pieces of carbon fiber put on a skid pan of all things. So everybody, please like, subscribe. That really helps us a lot, and definitely comment below. We do want to answer your questions about skid pans and anything else you might be wondering while you're at it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the trail.